Okay.
Top Lobster Productions.
There's also a chance that a demon or an entity could possess this tulpa that you create and kind of run with it.
But this thing will take the form of something like kind of goofy. For example, for children, sometimes you'll hear these stories of waking up in like a sleep paralysis state, but their favorite action figure is now life-size and standing in the corner of the room.
Right?
I used to fall asleep to ESPN and like during basketball season. I had like a bad streak for a little while there. Had to turn
An example of the tulpa, and we talked about this, I think, on Horseshoes the other night, would be Slender Man. You know, this guy was kind of talked about, and you know, all these stories were spread about him, and then, you know, all of a sudden you have two small girls that are sacrificing their friend to him.
Yeah.
Right? You know, folks hear the word ritual and they automatically think, you know, altar, sacrifice, child, dagger, you know, all this stuff.
Dude, I love that movie Coco. It just speaks to my
Pull that up.
Ethnicity, dude.
Demons are real, right? Okay. No discussion about God and Jesus. So it's
Right.
like all of them will always tell you that demons are real. They're the bad guys. You're going to fuck them up. You're going to listen to cool rock music. You're going to shoot them with double guns and have a big sword and all this crazy
They're
shit.
telling you that you are the god.
Right? It's through your own power that you're
Right.
doing this. There are negative entities that feed off of negative energy.
We are being hypnotized by people like this. Newsreaders, politicians, teachers, lecturers. We are in a country and in a world that is being run by unbelievably sick people. The chasm between what we're told is going on and what is really going on is absolutely enormous.
Oh yeah, dude. There's some Nephilim.
It's like we all know what's going down, but no one's saying shit what happened to the home of the brave. These motherfuckers, they controlling us now, and no one's talking about how they made us fight and be slaves. And everybody's just walking around, heading the clouds and wanna wake up to a dead in the grave. But then it's too late, we need to be ready to raise up. Welcome to the end of days.
Everybody is slaves, only some are aware that the government releasing poison in the air.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Nephilim Death Squad. I am David Lee Corbo, a.k.a. The Raven. That is Top Lobster, the father of disinformation.
Hello.
Before we get into today's guest, I would like to remind all of our live viewers that this is a 30-minute preview only. Sometime around the 30-minute mark, we're going to be going live exclusively to patreon.com/Nephilim Death Squad, where you can continue enjoying this conversation, engaging in the live chat, enjoying an ad-free viewing experience, and also gaining access to the tremendous backlog of content. You can do it all for free. Sign up for a 7-day free trial and absorb as much content as you can, and then get out before the billing cycle kicks in. Top doesn't like when I say that, but I'm banking on the fact that the vast majority of the audience is and they're busy. World War III is happening. Bills are piling up in this economy. And they're just not going to remember, because I don't remember to cancel half my. So you're not going to remember to cancel this, and that's really what I'm putting my money on.
They're going to want to join at the $10 a month tier, because at that tier you get the 2 days of Bohemian Grove free, the entire raw video before we get like the edit from Al of all the different cameras. Yeah, so raw. Throw the down the well with us. $10 a month tier. Yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy. All right, listen. What are we doing? We're just gonna plug. We plugged on the live show. We didn't even have a screen to
plug these holes, guys. Patreon.com/Nephilim Death Squad. All right. Anyway, joining us today after too long of a hiatus. We tried to make it happen sooner. Things kind of didn't work out one way or another, but we finally got him here. We are back once again with Jules of the Greypilled podcast. Jules, before we get into the conversation, let everybody know where they can find you and what it is that you focus on.
What's up, guys? Jules. I have the Greypilled podcast. I have a few shows I do. I am the Elohim etymologist as well as the sound scientist I do with Paranoid American. I have a Patreon. It's usually where I spend most of my time lately, but we do a lot of cool things over there. We do an esoteric book review. We are now currently watching Twin Peaks. We're on season 2, I believe, and we're kind of unpacking that, trying to dive into that, and find all the occult symbolism and esoteric undertones throughout the show. It's a good time, so we have fun over there. I host Already Dead. Well, I produce, let's say that, every Tuesday. I also do a show every other Sunday called Sunday Chaos with conspiracy extremists, Not Nice Guy, and Nate from Reality Czars.
Go up real quick. Scroll up. Why did that look like? What is? Oh, that's XG, dude. I thought that was Alex, the red-coated from the joke joint. I was so confused. Doesn't it look like him? I was like, what the hell's going on? How did you?
Shout out.
I thought it was me for a second. I was like, what the? I don't remember doing that.
Looks like you. It does look
Shout
like
out XG. He should be coming on soon. I got a lot of stuff in the works. Got a lot of people coming on this summer. So,
Jules, we've been watching you develop. You've been one of my favorite shows to watch your development. You linked up with all the right people. You have all of the right information. We're very surface level here on Nephilim Death Squad. You actually go deeper. You do the research. You understand these things. For example, I tried to watch Twin Peaks. I found that I'm simply too to watch Twin Peaks. I can't even focus long enough to get through the first 2 episodes. You're already on the 2nd season, so I think that speaks volumes as to your ability
my
to
third time watching the 2nd season.
Your 3rd time watching it?
Yeah.
That sounds masochistic, honestly. That doesn't sound. That sounds like a punishment. I hear it's very good. You know, you have Isaac Weissup who rants and raves about it, and I want to give it a chance, but every time I try to, I have hamster brain. I just can't focus for that long. Can we talk about that just a little bit? What are you finding in Twin Peaks? What the hell is worth watching 3 times over? How about that?
Well, I just want to say shout out Isaac. We actually talked over the DMs this past weekend. He's going to be, I really don't think he's talked about Twin Peaks publicly much. He's thrown little hints here and there, but he does something on his Patreon, I think, called the Gray Lodge, which is funny that it's named that.
Oh yeah.
But I think we have a show planned here in a couple months that we are going to be like diving into Twin Peaks. For him, I don't think he's, I think he's done it behind the scenes a whole bunch with people that are subscribed to him. So it should be fun. But man, it's the aesthetic of the show. I'm a big fan of David Lynch. So everything from the cinematography to the color to like the outfits that they wear to the music. The music is a huge part. I think it's part of a giant ritual in itself, maybe.
So I watched it 3 times.
Subjected myself to it 3
Yeah.
times.
Well, I mean, now I got all the people on the Patreon. Most of them who are y'all's viewers as well, kind of obsessed with it too. So it's a little cultish, but man, when you get into it and like you figure out that this place that the setting of the show, which is in Twin Peaks, up in Washington, it's just a very like mystical place. You realize that there's more than what meets the eye. There's owls everywhere. There's portals opening. There's these different lodges that this FBI agent is trying to find. And it all has to do with this girl that died in the very first episode. And like, dude, when you get into the lore of the show and all these other shows that are newer, that are based off of like the main ideal of Twin Peaks, but I mean, dude, there's a Black Lodge in it, and like you get into the Black Lodge, you get into Crowley.
Is there a Moose
Lynch.
Lodge?
Huh?
Is there a Moose Lodge?
A Moose Lodge. There might be actually. There is a great Northern Lodge, the hotel.
You know what's funny, Jules? My son watches this show, Gravity Falls, and apparently the guys who created Gravity Falls went and got David Lynch's blessing to do the show. It's a cartoon for children, but it's basically Twin Peaks for children, is my understanding. And so, yeah, there's like this cabin that's in the woods, and there's actually a place in Oregon, I believe. It's called like the Vortex, and there is inside this area. Yeah, Gravity Falls is a wild.
He was showing me the book. I'm like, what? I told David, I was like, burn this book. Don't let
Yeah.
your son look at this thing.
Well, it's interesting, right? Because Jules, you have kids, and they
This guy has
we-
a Freemason hat. It's wild.
he's got the
He-
fez
he-
on.
He's a Shriner.
Yeah. So it's an interesting line to walk because it's made for children. It's got all this conspiracy stuff in it. But I found conspiracy pretty organically when I was very young. And to be perfectly honest, they're injecting all of this symbolism and all of these subversive messages, especially in children's entertainment, just beneath the surface, not in such an overt way. But unlike, me, my child actually has a schizo father to help guide him through these things and explain to him, what they are and things of that nature. So I'm letting him watch it, and I'm finding that these things there's so much wild symbolism, so many wild themes and ideas that just go right over his head. He's not even paying attention to it. But it's my understanding that it was loosely based off of Twin Peaks in some way, shape, or form. So that is a form of Twin Peaks I can digest. Is a child's cartoon version of Twin Peaks.
Yeah, man, and like you said, at the surface level, it just looks like a cartoon. When you watch Twin Peaks at a surface level, if you're not familiar with the occult or anything that's supernatural, because the X-Files, I mean, it's a lot of same actors that were in the X-Files, so those shows kind of coincide. But it just looks like a 90s soap opera, basically. Like, I told my mom that I was watching Twin Peaks on Patreon, and she kind of laughed at me. She was like, really? I was like, yeah. She was like, oh, I didn't know
I
that
thought you were
would be
married
into
to a
that
woman.
show.
Like, what happened?
I didn't know I raised them. But no, man, there's something to it. And then when you watch it again and you find these other things in it, you're like, okay, there's something here. But the craziest thing to me is how at the end of the second season, there's something said about, I'll see you in 25 years. And 25 years later, he comes out with Twin Peaks season 3, The Return.
What?
And then you watch that. Yes. And it's phenomenal when you put it all together. And if you are a member of the Patreon, you get to do that. It's also a place where you can come and learn about this kind of knowledge. You don't have to go join some lodge and kind of coffin.
That's kind of half the fun, though, isn't it?
The Greypilled Patreon. What's up?
I said jerking off in the coffin is kind of half the fun, isn't it? I'm not gonna lie though.
guess, yeah.
My inability to watch Twin Peaks is partially due because it's just me in a vacuum watching it. I think joining your Patreon and hanging out with you and all of the guys in the chat and everything, all the fans there, might make it a more fun experience because I keep hearing there's a lot of shows like this. If you just hang on, it gets better. You lock in. But a guy that decides to pick up season 3 25 years after he says that he's going to do that, I'm a big fan of that kind of a thing. So it does sound very interesting to me. I might have to sign up for your Patreon and
that's
and go
crazy.
check that out.
Like,
I do have
how
a
do you
$2
even
tier. So
Ooh, okay, all right. You got
Real
a
$2
tier I
tier.
can afford then. Very
We
nice.
used to have a $2 tier, but that
never
was
had a
a
$2
that was a
tier.
Mandela effect. Yeah, so we actually never did have a $2. I don't know what the these people are talking about. It's interesting. 25 years. Like, who's to say that you're even alive? And is it also the X-Files people in the remake 25 years later, or the third season? The same actors?
no, the same people from Twin Peaks.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's the same people.
that's crazy.
And, like, there's a lot of people that make cameos in it. I think it was David Bowie was in Fire Walk with Me, which was the movie he made. I think Lynch wanted to make like a chain of movies after the second season of Twin Peaks, so he made Fire Walk with Me, which is a cult classic now, but at the time it didn't hit so good. But I'm pretty sure it was David Bowie. Yeah, he played like a special FBI agent in it.
Oh,
Or
that's
like
cool.
a special. So like people wanted to be a part of this thing, and then 25 years later, there's tons of like B-list celebrities in the third season. But the storyline is great, and it picks up like right where you thought it would. But Lynch was big into like a lot of Buddhist mysticism and stuff. So he talks about tulpas a bunch, and uses them a lot in his show.
Yeah, this is
And,
something that you and I discussed. What are we going to talk about on the show? And you said, how do you feel about talking about tulpas? And I said, I pronounced it out loud. When I read it, I said, tulpa. because that's how I felt like it should be pronounced. I said tulpa when I read it, and then I said never heard of it at all. And so to you, that was good. You said that was good. That makes it more exciting. So I don't know a damn thing about tulpas. I'm not sure what they are. Give me a crash course for retards in what that is.
Well, I'd say, all right, think of it as your imaginary friend, right? Something along the lines of that. This comes from Eastern Buddhist mysticism. And so that was kind of brought into Western esotericism through theosophy, Blavatsky, stuff like that. But these concepts exist, and I think were later used like in our culture, in pop culture, a lot more, way more so than we know. But a tulpa is basically a meditative thought form that you create mentally, right? Because in the esoteric traditions, you have your physical body, you have your etheric body, you have your astral body, but then the highest of all is your mental plane, right? Like everything is mental, which is actually pretty interesting when you think about it. So this is created in the mental plane, and then over time, especially I guess if you're practicing what you would call topomancy, which makes it sounds a little more sinister, right? And that very well may be the case, because like these things can manifest physically, I believe. Now, there's also a chance that a demon or an entity could possess this tulpa that you create and kind of run with it, because it is said that if you don't have enough control of this tulpa that you create, it does develop its own kind of like consciousness and starts to be kind of mischievous, I guess you could say, kind of like play pranks on you and stuff.
All right, so already I've got like there's two branches of thought that I have going on when it comes to this. One is the obvious one when it comes to like manifestation, right? Which I'm a Christian. I believe that a lot of people are, when they're talking about manifesting the things that they want in reality, they're really just mincing manifestation with prayer. And then the problem is, if you're manifesting, you're like you're addressing the universe, which is an interesting thing. It's worshiping or praying to or appealing to the creation instead of the creator. But, you know, I think that a lot of the time you'll find you'll get similar results if you pray to God the Father, instead of just trying to do this manifestation. It's basically paganism, right? But
you're working more through the body than through your spirit, like through your connection with the Holy Spirit, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And the other thing that it brings to mind is when people will have something that resembles a demonic encounter, but this thing will take the form of something like kind of goofy. For example, for children, sometimes you'll hear these stories of waking up in like a sleep paralysis state, but their favorite action figure is now life-size and standing in the corner of the room. I'd have heard a very similar thing with the film 27 and a half hours or something like that. It's a film with James Franco. He is a hiker slash rock climber. One thing leads to another. He ends up in this tragedy where he gets pinned in a canal.
Chop his arm off, right?
He has to chop his arm off. Yeah, a boulder pins his arm. There's simply no way to get out. He's going to die.
Talk about Dark Night of the Soul.
Yes. And what he ends up doing is he goes through an experience where he ends up seeing Scooby-Doo. 127 hours. Thank you, Rat. Shout out, Rat. Amen, Rat. So.
Oh, I remember that film. Yeah, that's crazy.
Dude, it was a rough watch. He had to snap
a lot of people
his
see
arm.
weird, like in
He saw Scooby-Doo down there. Holy, dude. Hey, whoa, can you warn somebody before you bring up that tulpa, that tulpa on the screen like that? We have sensitive viewers watching.
My bad.
Good God, man.
I thought it pertained, but please continue.
I mean, it does. It's just like,
paralysis demon.
Warn somebody. So what I'm getting at here is like, if you should, I'm not saying he saw a demon in 127 hours, but I've heard enough stories of people seeing strange things. I wonder if you can create a fleshed out enough image of a thing in your mind, like children will do with their favorite toys or something like that, if some familiar spirit, whether malicious or otherwise, whatever, can take the form of that because it's unique to you. I mean, these things are shapeshifters, right? Does that resonate at all?
Yeah, in-soul thought forms. Annie
I think
Besant
even
and other theosophists. Oh, sorry, Top.
go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say this has been talked about where astral elementals can enter these thought forms and basically become that of what you think, you know?
Right.
What, because, you know, like I said, think of like an imaginary friend. If a kid really believes that this thing exists and believes it for a number of years and puts a lot of, you know, energy and thought into it, like, does it exist? Like, does it? I talked about this recently on I don't know what episode, but there's a picture in one of these mini like paranormal, you know, top 10 videos or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's in this like playpen, and it's up like in the playpen. She's like taking pictures of her kid, and in the window next to her kid is this face of like this Muppet looking creature. But it doesn't look like a puppet. It looks like something like something's off with it. You're like, wait a minute, what? And then it like took another picture and it was gone or something. And it's like, you know, is that kid's imaginary friend? I've seen a few videos like that. I used to spend a lot of time on YouTube.
Me too, dude.
Yeah,
Nuke's Top 5 and Slapped Ham. Shout out to those guys.
Yes,
Those guys are...
shout out Slapped Ham. Then
Yep.
he shaved his head and called it Shaved Ham. That was funny.
Those guys are great though. I try not to watch it anymore because I think you kind of open yourself to that sort of thing, and I always end up
me
doing
and my
it, like,
wife, dude, we quit watching paranormal caught on camera before bed because we were like, you know, we're falling asleep with the show playing.
super dangerous.
Like, yeah, bro, especially like, you know, we pray, you know, a whole lot, and we're pretty spiritually in tune with Christ, and so it's you know, if you didn't have that protection, right?
Yeah.
It's like what could creep through your TV, like literally The Ring.
Dude,
Right,
I used to fall asleep to ESPN and like during basketball season. I had like a bad streak for a little while there. Had to
What do they
turn
call
that shit
Puerto
off.
Rican that try to act black?
Yeah, how does that
Piggers?
look? Not great.
What do they call it? They just called it a
It's called a pigger.
Yeah, they called me
Digger.
Ricky Martin after. I never
there was-
quite got in.
There was a time where I was watching Nuke's Top 5, and I always remember this one video in particular where it's these two little girls, these toddlers, are sitting at a kid's table in a kitchen, and the one little girl, she's turned and she's looked into the next room, and she's freaking out and she's crying about something. She's pointing. Her little sister or her sister, they're very young, could have been like 5 or something, is mocking her, laughing at the fact that her sister is scared of something because there's nothing there. So over and over again, she turns and she sees nothing and she's laughing, and the mom is recording going, why is this happening? What the hell? And then all of a sudden, the little girl takes like a third or fourth take, looks into that room where her sister is afraid to look. And then there's still nothing there on camera, but the little girl locks up like she sees something, and she starts screaming, dude. Screaming to the point where her mom, like, you know, the camera goes off and whatever happens. That little girl, it was like she didn't see it the first 3 times, and on the 4th one, she saw it. Every once in a while, those videos, 100 of them are trash. One of them is like, what the is that? And that one is the one that creeps in and ruins your night. But, Jules, you're talking about these thought forms. I've heard a lot of people dismiss what Christians will call demonic encounters, or any other spiritual person will say, yeah, trickster spirit, I ran into this, I ran into that. And they'll use this terminology, thought form, almost as a dismissal, like it doesn't exist on any plane of reality whatsoever. It's just a fabrication of your mind. What do you think about that?
Well, so when you talk about that, if you look at an egregore, and you get into like the occult traditions of creating an egregore, or like these thought forms, how they're my voice is cracked, how they're manifested. They have to exist you create them in these other realms before they can manifest physically. So they exist in a celestial realm, an astral realm, and then finally the physical realm. If you were, and that's going on with, and I'm sure we were going to get into it when, I mean, it's basically chaos magic, right? Creating these, what you would call a servitor, which it is what it sounds like, something that serves a purpose, that you would create.
Is that like a homunculi?
Dude, yeah, it gets into the homunculus being like a smaller kind of a representation of yourself, maybe in something smaller, right? Or that could also be inhabited by some other spirit.
Is this like Frankenstein's monster? Is that, or at least the
like
original?
The golem, like the Jewish golem as
Correct.
well. That would be something like a servitor. But an example of a tulpa, and we talked about this, I think, on Horseshoes the other night, would be Slender Man. You know, this guy was kind of talked about, and you know, all these stories were spread about him, and then, you know, all of a sudden you have two small girls that are sacrificing their friend to him.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So for people who are unfamiliar with that, I mean, you know, you could be peripherally aware of Slender Man because of its popularity over the past, I would say, like decade, really. But it seems to have sprung exclusively out of what are called creepypastas, which are fictional stories written by relatively talented, you know, anonymous people on the internet. And but to Jules' point, it does kind of come to a head, this obsession with Slender Man, with two girls murdering a third one, right? And you know, I've been looking at that, Jules, for a while, and I go, is that something that was entirely fabricated, or is it a nothing is new under the sun sort of a situation? And those people who made those creepypastas were inspired by something that did exist in some realm, that
existed already in the ether.
Yeah,
right?
That's kind of where I lean. What do you think?
That could very well be a possibility. However, like the physical, kind of the physical manifestation of the Slender Man, I've seen hundreds of videos that could be Slender Man. It could be early AI. I don't know what it could be. It could be a sock puppet. It could be that.
Gotta warn people. I see how it feels. I'm sorry. That's not nice.
Slender Man.
Not Slender Man.
Not so Slender Man.
But that would be the tulpa. I do think it probably goes further back to an ancient spirit that takes the form of this thought form that was kind of, you know, thought about, especially when you have multiple people thinking up this same idea, this same creature, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
It's way more likely to start to exist on a much more physical level. But like I said, this goes into meditation, and that's where it comes from in, Tibetan mysticism, I guess you could say, more Tibetan than Buddhist, than just like regular Buddhism. But there's a theosophist named what's her name? Alexandra David Neal, who wrote a book called Magic and Mystery in Tibet. And she talks about, she created this tulpa. It took her 6 months to meditate every day and create this tulpa. It was a jolly monk kind of guy. And at first she was just seeing him in her mind's eye and stuff. And she thought that someone was in the room with her, but really wasn't. But then she would have guests at her home, and they were like, who's that Friar Tuck looking guy that's in the corner? And I don't think she had a name for him, but he started to manifest physically.
Do you think ghosts are tulpas? Because in my mom used to live in an apartment that her sister got. She got the apartment rented by her brother after, and then after her brother, her sister rent. So it was like in the family for like 30 years, this apartment. And they all describe this guy, I forgot what they call him. They gave him a name. It's like
Frank. Was it Frank or
no? It's like
I remember
name.
I remember you telling me about this, but
yeah, the guy would just like stand by the kitchen, and they all described the same thing. They never like told anyone about it until it kind of came up, and then they all said, "Yeah, I've seen this guy." And of course, my aunt named him. She's out of her mind. But
I think that's a powerful move, by the way.
Name it
when you give it a name. Yeah.
Yeah. I think her instincts were probably correct to name it, to control it, but she had no intention to cast any of this stuff out. As a matter of fact, like most of her actions brought more things in. Like she's bringing in the Ouija board to her house, and they had like they were buying VHS tapes. I mean, like wall to wall of horror movies from Blockbuster. This is back in the day, you know. It's like just real stupid she was doing, but she named him. What was his name? Anyway, yeah, it's just weird because it's like this entity shows what
putting a name to it. Definitely, I would think creates a tulpa. But it's funny how you said tries to control it, because like you that's kind of the purpose of these things. But it's so easy. It's such a slippery slope, right? Anything having to do with the occult. That's why you probably just shouldn't practice it.
And she wasn't practicing. She was just like, it was there in the house because my mother was there before, and my mother wasn't practicing, but this entity was there.
Okay.
And my mom saw it. She didn't like it. Like he would stick in the corner of the kitchen and watch them when they cooked, the woman. And he'd just be kind of at ease, like a smiling, they were like
That's
older
a tulpa,
Jewish guy.
Dude.
Yeah. And she's like, if I don't pay attention to it, he kind of just stays there, or sometimes he won't show up. My aunt is talking to him. She's crazy, but I think it's a fear mechanism. Like she's scared, but doesn't want to admit she's scared. So she's like, "Oh yeah, I seen him." She's ghetto. I seen him, and
just because
I
someone
gave him a
creates
name.
a tulpa doesn't mean they're practicing magic. Like there are people who intentionally create tulpas. Who
I'm saying like that.
Lady that did the
there she is. That's an older picture of her. There's a younger picture that you can find where she kind of doesn't look human.
So she's a white lady. Why is it the
dude?
White
She
woman
hung out
goes
with. So was the other chick who I brought up, hanging out with Helena Blavatsky and all those people. You know?
Unbelievable. What
yeah.
is going on
And
here?
so reading reading about these people, you find some of this stuff out. But she eventually.
His name was Reuben.
Ruben, there you go. He had a
Reuben.
regular name.
Ruben?
That's what it was. Ruben. That's what she named.
Sorry,
her.
Jules. Yeah.
No, that's interesting, man.
Yeah.
I don't know why
Not a
she
good
just
I'm
named
glad
him
you
Reuben.
brought that up. Dude. I think your aunt may have created a tulpa unknowingly.
The thing is, no, it was there. It was there before.
Okay.
It was before,
Okay.
before my mother moved in. So like the order is, the thing is there. My mother moves in first. She sees Reuben, doesn't name it, tries to like not acknowledge it. As a matter of fact, my cousin Andre, he was at Grove. His mother and his father lived there after. His mother saw it too. Never mentioned it until years and years later when my next aunt moved in, and she's just talking to this thing, calling it Reuben. And it's weird. So it was there way before. Somebody put it there, or they thought it was a ghost, but I'm not so sure about ghosts anymore. Like the spirits of human beings kind of like being left over. I'm thinking more what you're talking about, but somebody might have just put this thing in the house, because this house is haunted, dog. It was haunted before. I'm pretty sure there's a portal in a certain doorway that goes to a basement, because I've seen come out of it.
Yeah, the idea that there's like a little girl who died in this place, right? So let's say some spirit can at least plant that thought in you to some degree. It can nudge you. So you're some asshole ghost hunter. You're walking around and you go, I'm picking up on the, what does he say? Hold on. Reuben sandwiches ain't bad, but your aunt named a demon after it. Coincidence? I think not. High level noticers. But you're some asshole ghost hunter, right? And this thing is giving you the impression. All it's got to do is just say, like, it's got to make you feel, even for a brief moment, if you're sensitive to this sort of thing, little girl. Now all of a sudden you're in your mind and you're going, I think it's the spirit of a little girl. Did you just give that thing consent, a scaffolding that it's now allowed to build on? You know what I mean? Because they can't create. We're the ones who create. Now you're using the word, right? You're verbalizing this out loud. You're saying a little girl died here. That's what I'm feeling. And this thing's like, gotcha. Thanks for the skeleton on which to build my spiritual creature, whatever this is. That's what I don't know. Maybe.
No, you're 100% hitting on something, man.
That's crazy, because I just pulled that straight out of my.
Well, I definitely think that has something to do with it. You have ghosts, apparitions, specters. When you get into some of the deeper supernatural stuff that ties into the occult, there's like these kind of different types of ghosts. I'm still kind of reading about it. But it's almost as if some of these ghosts, I don't know, man, maybe some type of energy that we leave behind. Have y'all ever thought about that?
Yeah, I think that physical objects can so if all emotion, let's say, is energy and frequency, and you have a high emotional moment like the death or a murder, let's say a murder, for example, right? You're spilling out into these physical objects immense emotional energy, and that energy probably has some effect. It interacts with physical objects. To what extent, I don't know, because we can't measure it yet, or we lack the technology to do so. But assuming that energy, which we have proven exists, right? If you look at speaking positive or negative affirmations to water, that obviously has an effect on the water. When it freezes, it's got different crystalline structures, organized structures for positivity, chaotic structure for negativity. So if it affects water, it probably has some effect on physical objects. If it's that powerful, that energy, and it's spilling all over the walls of a building, do the walls retain that in any way, shape, or form? And then what happens from there? Can that energy continue to exist? Is it locked in? These are things that I think are probably pretty reasonable questions to ask if you're dealing with energy and frequency and things of that nature.
Well, it's biblical. There's biblical precedent, and there's also kind of things that we know about. So when Cain killed Abel, I think it says that the ground opened up and swallowed the blood of your brother. It tells you don't put blood on the ground,
right?
Like as if it's like an elemental that right that will feed on this. Then you think about places like Gettysburg, and you're like, people say it feels weird there. There's like it's haunted. It's like, well, there's a ton of blood that's spilled there of a lot of. There's like, and
Is
it's
there
bad.
memories
It's,
stored in this blood that can like manifest. Yeah, man. I think you guys are
even in
definitely touching
Israel,
on something.
like we had Andrew Meyer. We had him on, and he goes, when you're I'm just gonna be upfront with the people. He's a J. No, he's cool. We were there. He was telling us when you go to
InfoWars, right?
Yeah, he's the guy that made Alex Jones 2D side-scroller video game, which is awesome.
Yeah, cool dude, knows a lot. We're gonna bring him back on. I asked him to talk about Solomon. So he's like, oh, you want to know about the demons? I was like, I want to know about all of the stuff. I want you to, so whatever.
We have to get circumcised, but it will work.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. So he says, when you go to Israel and you go to the wall, he's like, I don't care who you are. He's like, you feel it. There's something there. And it's like, yeah, people go there, they hump the wall, they all this stuff. Mm-hmm. And it might not, I don't know how I'd feel, but
that humping is doing, Top, it's creating energy.
It's creating energy, but also there was like a sack. There was a sack of Jerusalem. Jesus said not one of these stones will be left on another. There's bloodshed, major bloodshed going on there. That's a huge city. There's millions of people that were in there. And, I'm sure that trauma stays there. Also, when you're talking about Israel, you're like, why are they fighting over it? And, some people go, well, Israel's the chosen place and the people and all this. I'm like, how about the Son of God? He was right there. His blood was shed on that ground. What does that do to a place? His blood was shed on Golgotha, the hill of the skull, and swallowed up in that ground. What does that do?
Right.
I don't know, but that's significant. So yeah, it transmutes places. It opens up portals, or perhaps makes them thinner for
absolutely
these things to come through. And that's what I think goes on.
Absolutely. It's a big part of blood. Yeah. Blood magic is really what it is, right? I mean, yeah, it's the same thing when you go to Mecca with the cube, you had these people circling around this cube over and over. It's whipping up this energy. Mm-hmm. Now, what kind of energy? I'm not so sure. I've never partook in any of that kind of stuff. But I mean, I don't know. The symbolism is there. I mean, you don't just, I think there's a reason you're kissing a meteorite, right? I mean, I don't know the lore behind that, but
well, let me give you something that I've been kicking around, but so with this idea of like frequency and energy, sometimes you look at these rituals and ceremonies that the elite are doing, and I've become very comfortable with this idea that God has used certain elements and systems to create the realm that we inhabit. And there are ways, if you understand the fundamental building blocks of those systems, in which you can bend it a bit. And I think that's what they're constantly trying to do. Now, if you look at water or liquid in general as a great conductor of energy, then it stands to reason so would be blood. Blood would be a great conductor of energy, and blood maybe even being more significant because it's such a, it carries within it life force, right? So there's also this observation of the realm that we inhabit, that it seems geometry plays a crucial role in building up this place, to the extent
Also,
that people
our blood has a connection with the elementals as well as the water in our body too.
right. So it's much more dynamic than water. In other words, we could say it that way, right?
Yeah.
And then you have this whole field of study, sacred geometry, where it's like people are, and you're also getting this from quantum physicists in a sense, where geometry and it's basically numbers taking shape in a geometrical fashion, right? I mean, that sounds almost profound, but totally. So you have quantum physicists who have deduced that numbers are the backdrop to everything. You have sacred geometry studiers who go, well, it's geometry, but huge overlap there, right? And then you look at these rituals, and what do they always involve? They involve blood, this spilling of this life force in a highly traumatic, energetically charged circumstance, right? Where you're sacrificing something. So the energy, the emotional energy that's pouring off of that something is huge. You have the chanting, right? Which creates a resonance, a frequency element. And if you look around, it's like everything is frequency. You have a geometrical shape on the ground as well. And then you have a certain, number of participants. It's a very important number. It's like they are using all of those elements that we just talked about: energy, frequency, geometry, numerology, and they are mashing it all together in one moment, trying to bend the building blocks of this realm. And I think that you could even see that in Jesus Christ, right? Because if you look at what supposedly makes the most apt sacrifice for a ritual, so the more innocent, the better. Jesus Christ lives a perfect life, but it seems like what God does in that moment is he nails it. He knows exactly how to bend the rules of the realm that he created. And so we have perfect innocence in Jesus Christ. It's the perfect sacrifice. It's the perfect ritual. It's not like these guys, the bad guys, have invented ritual and ceremony. They can't create,
Right.
they only invert. They're just bending God's rules, God's elements, God's building blocks for the realm that he created, but he just did it a lot better.
Well, yeah, I mean, and it was a ritual in a way. Folks hear the word ritual and they automatically think, altar, sacrifice, child, dagger, all this
Yeah.
stuff. And it's like, no, we partake in rituals every day. Prayer is a ritual. Would also be considered white magic.
Mm-hmm.
Anything that's countering any form of black magic would be considered white magic. So prayer would be considered white magic. And that's just, generally speaking in occultic terms. But, yeah, man, no, this stuff all ties together. And what you're talking about like a certain energy of a place, like especially a place that has, that you said has had a lot of bloodshed, or a lot of things have happened there. It's something known as a genius loci, and I've been looking into this lately. It's the spirit of the place is what it means. It's what it's translated to Latin. And I would
What
look
is
at
it,
this
Jules?
as
A genius Loki?
yeah.
A genius Loki. Okay,
We're
going to talk about a genius Loki right after this. We're at the 45-minute mark, and we've given the poors too much content. We're now going to cut the stream and go exclusively to patreon.com/Nephilim Death Squad. You can continue engaging in the live chat. You can continue enjoying this episode, as well as an ad-free viewing experience. And you get to learn about, what was it, a genius Loki?
Genius Loki.
A very smart Loki.
Very
Yes.
smart, Loki. You can learn all about that, or you can wait because you're poor and you're disgusting. But if you're not poor and disgusting, then you can sign up and you can
So
continue enjoying
mean.
this.
So
Otherwise,
disrespectful.
it is very disrespectful. Let's say goodbye to the pores. Wave goodbye to the pores, boys. Bye-bye, pores.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
All right, so a genius Loki. Explain that to someone who is David.
All right. David.
It's like I mean, do you have to say it twice?
It's a redundancy. I know.
The spirit of the place, which I would interpret maybe as like a happy place or something, just speaking like you said in just layman's terms, kind of like the imaginary friend would be a tulpa. But this could be brought about. Let's say there's an energy of a certain place that you've created, right? Your home, or I don't know if you own a business or something, but the fact that you can create a genius or a guardian to look after this place, and it's kind of like an aura in a way. It sounds weird, but these can be manifested apparently.
Interesting.
The same way thought forms can. It's just like instead of a thing, it's a place. The thought form is a place.
So it could be like a positive thing though, like you're saying, right? Like if you build something that's beautiful, like you build a family for your home, and there's love and there's joy in the process, there's dedication and positivity, then you could feasibly create something that's very positive.
Yeah, and that goes to say like this guardian, and I've briefly kind of read about it, but this guardian that you create along with this place to kind of protect against anything, any non-physical entity that tries to invade your quote unquote happy place. It's like, are you creating an angel? You know, like in a way, I know that sounds weird, and we probably couldn't create such a celestial being, but I don't know, man. Just the whole concept of it just kind of made me think about it.
Well, are you
I don't know what you
creating
guys
or
thought.
just calling it in? Right?
Right.
Like, isn't that prayer?
Yes, that's also what I was gonna say could be happening as well, because when you look into magic, demons can be created multiple ways. There's multiple forms of black magic, but like did Crowley did he create Iwas? You know what I mean? Or did this entity exist as some other name long ago? Right? I don't know, just some questions that I've been asking lately that I've been trying to get into.
Well, we've seen this idea that the angels were, I guess, suppose, I don't know if it's all of them or some of them, had the ability to shapeshift. And then I guess you could ask yourself, are they limited to shifting into what is only perceivable in the natural world? Or, God, Jesus, man, or can they shift into something like that? You know what I mean? Like if that, I wonder, so you have the idea of, let's say Zeus, for example, who I believe is a fallen, he takes the form of a goose, but also an eagle. But in the form of a goose, he actually impregnates a woman, and she gives birth to Perseus, right?
He's very geese.
Super. Oh yeah,
They're
especially
all
geese.
rape. That's
They
all.
have a
That's all
squiggly-
he does. It's just like, oh, these women look hot, like they look attractive. I'm gonna impregnate them,
Right.
and that's what they do. Yeah.
Right. So, are their abilities to shapeshift limited to geese and snakes and things like that, or can they take the form of something that is, I wouldn't say new, because I don't know if we're doing any new, but could they take the form of something that you think you've conjured up in your own mind?
Yeah, absolutely. If that thought form is powerful enough, like what we were talking about earlier, more on a mass conscious scale, like multiple people thinking of the same thing and kind of, easier to create. And that goes to like, you have your football teams with their, with their mascots. Like that mascot probably exists somewhere in the ether as a non-physical entity. You have your Captain Crunch and all those little guys from the cereal boxes. You have like these, like, and to back to what you were saying, yes, I think these forms can be I guess you, for a better word, possessed and used to,
That kind of brings me back to what I said at the top of the show, where you have
Yeah.
these instances of children seeing like their favorite toy or something like that, like standing at the foot of their bed or in the corner. It also makes me wonder about sort of the Hat Man, because the Hat Man is similar to the Slender Man in that it's not like there is not, as far as I've seen, tremendous amounts of deep ancient lore about him. He seems, there was a time where if you were reading about it, they would dismiss the Hat Man as something that only existed because Western culture had given us that visage of the duster coat and the brimmed hat, right? But then what ended up happening is I found instances of the Hat Man existing in, like, let's say Japanese culture, for example. One of the examples I always give is Top. I don't know if you could pull this up, but if you type in PlayStation 1 Dream Hat Man, right? PS1 Dream Hat Man, you might find this.
Creepy as fuck.
And effectively, it's a dude who is from Japan. He sets out to create a different type of video game experience that's non-linear, that doesn't have an objective. It's not an objective-based thing. I think it actually is that. Yeah. So, and what ends up happening is he decides that he's going to make these dreamscapes and that they're going to be based off of his own dream. So they're very jarring, and it's hard to, kind of figure out the path of it. But it does behave very much like a dream, like it's all random. And to get to the next sequence, you've got to do something really random, like touch a painting or some weird like that. But it's non-linear. But one of the things is this Hat Man. I don't know. You might actually see it popping up for the viewers who are watching.
I see it.
Yeah. So
There he is.
let me see. It's not that one. I do want to find the image. Keep scrolling, Top. Definitely not that one. Not that one either. I don't know. I think it was definitely that first one, but I wish they would have shown us. But yeah, it's a dream emulator, more or less. And he just drops the Hat Man, that one right there. You saw that with that image right there with this guy that keeps
With
showing
the
us his
G?
face, and I wish he wouldn't. But that was a
Disgusting.
game for, yes, there it is. That image,
Huh.
right? It's a man in a duster coat with this brimmed hat. And basically he just tells you like, oh yeah, that's just some dude that I see in my dreams sometimes. And so it's this example where it's outside of Western culture. It's in Japanese culture. And if you look at Freddy Krueger, Wes Craven was inspired to design his
Absolutely.
hat-wearing nightmare creature after one of his buddy's stories. He grew up with a kid, I guess, who was telling him, these horrific stories about this man with a brim cap that would come for him in his nightmares. So much like Slender Man enters kind of pop culture, even the Hat Man enters pop culture in that way. And so I don't know what to make of him. I talked to somebody once named Heidi Braun, I believe her name was, and she claimed to know the identity of the Hat Man. And more or less what she said was that Hat Man is the number one guy, is like Satan, the adversary, the devil. And having the information that I have now, I'm not so sure that really vibes with me, but there's something about him. He seems more significant than these other characters, but he's still dressed like this kind of Western visage of a man in a duster coat. But he feels to me very similar to Slender Man. He feels to me like maybe once upon a time somebody did grab onto those elements, the hat, the duster coat, the shadow, maybe even sometimes the red eyes, and something latched onto that, and then that's just its jam now for years and years and years. That's its visage.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it's the same thing with this kind of image that we see that the church kind of brought about of the devil, this red devil with horns, a tail, which is all esoteric symbolism. The horns, the tail, all that stuff goes into deeper symbolism, right? But I mean, did it create this entity? And because then, you know, what's that show? Cow and Chicken. It had the little red devil guy in it.
Yeah, with the butt cheeks. They always gave him.
Yeah, the
fat
guy
ass.
with the
It was
big
weird.
red butt. I think that was his name.
Yeah.
And same thing with Baphomet. Like, it was drawn up, you know, it was talked about, probably in some cases worshipped. Like, that thing exists now. Like, there's been sightings of goat men, or there's been, you know, that it could exist as a non-physical entity. Yeah, this could be the same situation with all these characters that we see.
It's crazy.
Go ahead.
I'm thinking about when Jesus tells Judas that it says like the spirit of Satan entered him, and he recognized it, and he says, "You belong to him now." And he goes, "Who's him?" And he goes, "Not God." Like that. I'm so like, what does that mean? Like, what do you see? Who is him now? Like, how is that so easily recognized? I guess Jesus recognized it, but what does that look like to us? Is it the Hat Man, or is that something else? You know?
Right? Was it something that they thought up back in antiquity that doesn't exist anymore? Because egregores can be destroyed too, you know, especially if someone makes a lot of idols of it or something, and those idols are then kind of destroyed. That's how these civilizations fall. The egregore is first destroyed. And then, like in Rome, you know, they had the eagle and all that, and like the destruction of Rome, you know, they were doing away with the old gods, and they were, you know, kind of destroying the city, right? Destroying the architecture of the city and all the statues, all the idols. And that, along with the worship of these gods, these you know, lesser deities, it destroys this idea of this larger egregore. In Sumeria, it's that composite creature. It's like a guy with wings and the body of like a lion or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, look at this.
I think it's Babylon.
My son made me this. It's like
What the?
It's
like a
something like
chimera.
that, right?
Yeah,
right.
dude.
That
He
could be
made it out
turned
of
into an
clay.
egregore. Top. You can make your own. That looks like the jaguar from
it's weird.
Elena of Avalor.
Yeah, I don't know. He likes to make these sculptures, and he was like, "Here, look at this one." I was like, "That's cool," but I was like, "Why does it have wings?" He's
Which
like,
I don't know because it's the thing from Elena of Avalor. I'm telling you, go type in that show. Same thing with that Sophia the First show, right? Sophia the First. If you get into Gnosticism, the first, you know, conscious form was Sophia or whatever. Have y'all never heard of that show?
No.
I'm looking at it right now. Elena of
Yeah.
Avalor. Yeah.
Holy
oh
shit.
God, yeah, that giant sculpture. What the hell, dude?
Do you see the flying jaguar top? Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you
I've
bringing
never
that
seen
up?
this thing
I'm looking
before.
at it right now.
He's up there.
Yeah,
it's
but
a
what about the
griffin.
big-
Yeah, basically a griffin, just in a different culture. I forgot
That's the
what
name
they're
of my
called.
dog, dude. The road that I live off of is a griffin. It's
Wait,
that's
wait,
weird.
wait. But get out of this top and find the
Uh-huh.
big statue. There's a big statue if you just type in winged jaguar, and it's alarming.
Oh, like a real statue.
Yeah, dude, it's massive. Kind of dope looking.
Oh, this thing? It looks like they're in Coco as well. The
No. It's not. Yeah, they are in Coco. You're right about that.
I
Hold
forgot
on,
what they
I'll show
called
you.
them.
I keep forgetting where they go in Coco, like the underworld that they go to. It's like the real underworld that they believe in. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, man. I haven't watched that movie in a long
I
time.
had Thomas on to talk about Disney few weeks
Okay,
back.
share this tab instead.
Dude, I
Yes.
love that movie Coco. It just speaks to my
Hold that up,
in me.
Tom.
Ethnicity, dude. Yeah,
The one that I
of
just,
course you would. I mean,
sorry. Here
Hold the
we
one
go.
up on
that's
my
like
screen.
me.
That.
It's like me with that Brave movie because I'm Irish. Like I love that
Well, I'm
Brave
not-
movie, man.
I'm not Mexican, but it's just something about it. I'm like, I do like it.
Well, you know,
Yeah, that thing was
So
crazy.
this is at the United Nations headquarters.
of course it was.
Wow.
That could exist in another realm. Like they could have created that thing.
Well,
That's crazy.
there's another movie that my kids like. It's on Netflix. It's called To the Moon or something like that. The girl that sings in Hamilton. She's like she's a luminary. She plays the character of the moon, and when this little girl is getting to the moon, these griffins, they're just winged lions. There's 2 or 3 of them. They help her guide her rocket to the moon. Man, what the fuck is this called? It's just called like to over the moon or something like that. And I'm just like, I'm watching it and my kids love it. I'm just like, there's so much esotericism in these children's movies. Perhaps that's why he made this. I don't know.
Yeah, it could have been. He could have been inspired by something he saw. I would say. That's
Well,
likely
those
the
2
case.
worlds right there are linked together. We were talking about earlier with the Twin Peaks and the X-Files. There's actually theories Twin Peaks is tied to the OA and a few other shows as well.
Oh, dude, the OA is insane.
Yeah, dude. There's apparently the creators were big fans of Twin Peaks. The guy Hap in the OA and Fire Walk with Me, the name of the restaurant is Haps. So I don't know. I
want to watch rewatch the OA because that was like a really wild movie or show rather. That was a really wild show. It stands for the Original Angel, and you know, it's like they basically discover a series of breathing techniques and symbols that they can do with their hands
movements that they do.
Yeah, and movements that will shift a timeline for them more or less.
Or bring someone back to life, like do all these things. Yeah, you can basically like play God, right?
Yes. Yeah, very interesting. I wonder too.
You had really cringe happen in like IRL, people doing the movements on TikTok.
That's
so
that's so. But honestly,
wait up. What is the Elena of Avalor? What is the lore behind that? Because he's never seen that, and why would you give it like these blue purple wings? Because now those other guys, I could see him having wings, but this one is almost like a 1-to-1.
Dog,
it's got
your kid's
spots.
seeing in his dreams, homie.
Yeah, not good.
See one of the Jaguars?
What was that?
The Jaguar.
The Jaguar.
In Spanish. I don't know.
Oh, I don't know how to say that. I think it's a jaguar. It'll be like a hog
A
wire.
jaguar. That's how he said it in
Jaguar.
English.
I thought
Jaguar.
it was like a Jaguar. I don't know.
Well, this is what I'm wondering. Going back to this, like, if you create an image, you can give this thing a scaffolding upon which, especially if you flesh it out enough, to inhabit it. And then you look at like Exodus 24, where it says, "Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth." And it's like, you know, even in Islam, there's like this real crazy idea that you're not supposed to make any images of you know, their God. And then there becomes a real issue not a real issue, but within Christianity, it's like it's very hard to perceive God. You can only perceive him from the back, right? Or this or that. And it's like, I'm thinking about how that applies to if you see it and you recreate it, can then something else take its form that isn't real? And then the other thing is too, like, what is sight? What is the ability to see? Because we get hung up on that idea sometimes that like, God, well, I wish it was removed from me. The ability to see. Don't do that anymore, dude. That's very upset. We have another show to do after this. I'm feeling nauseous. But so you think about the sigil of Lucifer and how it aligns so closely to the diagram of the visual cortex of a human being. And I don't know. It's like, to me, I feel like there's some sort of connection there. If you can see it and you can recreate it, then some spiritual entity can inhabit it. And then the sigil of Lucifer seems to be a symbol for the visual cortex of a human being. I don't know what the hell is going on there. Like, look at that, right? That's the visual cortex, and that is the sigil of Lucifer.
Oh, that's the 9 angles symbol, isn't it? Yeah.
So there's something that like it's going right over my head, but it feels like it's right there.
Wow,
it's like
dude.
Human beings' ability to see a thing. Then what? What if we create it, manifest it, put it in clay, put it on a sculpture, draw it on paper?
Look, seeing it, right? When you see it out in front of you, it's also seeing it in your mind.
Yes.
So that's when I was kind of referring to the mental plane being the highest of all. It really is true. Like, mind over matter is definitely real.
Well, that's why it's
in
like,
every case.
You know, blessed are those who believe without seeing. You know,
right.
So you don't need to use this medium. It's almost like This picture almost feels to me like
Well, dude,
they're describing the Matrix.
absolutely, dude. Nick from Occult Rejects, he's talked about this a bunch, with the eyes and how it's our ability to see a whole lot more than we know, and it's like the eyes are the window to the soul, right? But my wife, dude, she's pretty clairvoyant, but she gives it all to Christ. She calls it seeing in the spirit.
Base.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so and I mean, dude, it's there's stuff that she'll predict, or stuff that will come to her, and then like a week later it happens in someone else's life who we know but we're not like close to. It's just real weird stuff, and it's been happening for a while now. So yeah, she gives it all to God, dude. Well, Christ, like this is I mean, it's just what she's come to realize in the past year, that she has this. I think a lot of people would have this kind of clairvoyancy if they were to have a spiritual relationship with the Holy Spirit, but it's not for everybody, right?
Yeah, I think it can be for everybody, but we've been so inundated with a big spiritual mess. You know what I mean? Like spirituality, understanding the spiritual realm has become very, very, very muddied. And I think people of old used to be a lot more obvious, but they were still choosing, but at least they were making like a concise choice to worship another deity because they were. Now it's like we might be a little bit smarter in some ways than the ancients. It's a different type of intelligence.
But in a way, dude, when you do something and you're giving what you would call your worship to someone or something, some entity, you're in your gut that you're doing wrong.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You don't want to admit it. Now, when you can come and you can admit it and ask for forgiveness and talk about it, you've grown in a way, right? Where you can have some kind of accountability towards it.
Yeah.
A lot of people are just in denial, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you think about that worship and what it looks like, it's like even my own son, what's on his wall, he has like a poster of a Super Mario. He's got a poster of, but effectively what you're making is like your own shrine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you're going to sleep in this place, you're waking up in this place, and this place is surrounded by these characters.
Well, if he is creating anything in his mind, or he will one day destroy that. And I mean, with you as his father, I mean, he has a pretty good head on his shoulders, I'm sure. So
yeah,
I mean,
we have discussions that it's actually pretty easy to point out. So it's like with him, he'll play a game or he'll watch a show, and who are the bad guys? The bad guys are like demons and such. And you go, okay, well, that relatively tracks, but it's telling you that the supernatural realm exists. But the real kicker is that they're like, yeah, the bad guys are demons. When I was a kid, one of my favorite games was Devil May Cry. You're literally a Nephilim, right? Your son is your father is a demon. Your mother is a human woman. And
so you're a Jew?
This is where I go.
Just like taking long-term loans from people. Like that's what the game's about. Just a bunch of numbers. Because is it a calculator?
High scores if you can convince them to. It's like all of your opponents. You have to get close to them. You got to convince them, and you got to convince them it's their idea to jerk off. Yeah. If you can convince them it's their idea, that's where you get the most points. But you're playing these characters. So what's the game doing? It's like, dog, the spiritual realm is real. Okay, demons are real, right? Okay, no discussion about God and Jesus. So it's like all of them will always tell you that demons are real. They're the bad guys. You're going to fuck them up. You're going to listen to cool rock music. You're going to shoot them with double guns and have a big sword and all this crazy shit.
They're telling you that you are the God.
It's through your own power that you're doing this. That's the thing. And that's the seed that they plant in your head. So like when you're a kid, you have these dreams of demons riding a skateboard, carrying a sword, surviving
into a guitar.
But it's all through your power. And that's like you want to talk about
deception.
Yeah, 9 truths and 1 lie. It's not even completely a lie. It's 9 truths and 1 omission. And that omission is Jesus Christ. It's God the Father. They've omitted that from the narrative, and they're like, yeah, this is dope, right? And you could do it all through your power, which is the exact opposite of what we're called to do. So,
Yeah.
but he sees that because it's like, why are they telling you that one side of the coin exists but not the other one?
Right.
And so we have those discussions. So yeah, you can guide them through it, but you can see the trap. It's a very alluring trap.
Isn't that a crazy distance to fall for these guys? Like you go from like the beginning of time where your name is out there and it's pretty much you've got your symbols. You have nations that are dedicated. I guess India is still is like this, but like now it's to the point where we're like, well, we have 3 main religions and they all worship the same God, so they say, but like they're deviating slightly. Like you can't even they're not even out there with their likeness. Only in India, but India's
At most streets. Yeah, that's the only people that you can get are telemarketers that in the streets, and they do it simultaneously, and those are the ones that are willing to worship you. That's crazy. Wow.
But the rest of the world is like it's God and Jesus Christ, and then the other 2 religions are kind of like deviating from it. So it's like anything but what is true. But I can know like they're not even good enough to get to worship themselves anymore, like to really be out there in the open. If you're a Satanist, it's kind of like people know what it like Satanist. You're like that. I don't think so. Like a Satanist can't run for office, but a person who is in who believes in Judaism can. That's like but it's, do you see what I mean? It's just like anything but the actual truth. It's like an omission.
Yeah,
rather
because they
than
used to
outright.
worship Dagon, or they used to worship Molech. They used to do it openly. There were entire civilizations that were engaging in cannibalism and necromancy and all this. Now it happens, behind. It was like it used to happen behind city walls.
Now they do it. They say we are Christians. They do it under the Roman Catholic banner. Shout out Johnny Cerrucci.
Yeah, 100%. But yeah, it's how the mighty have fallen in a way, because now it's just like they'll get you to worship them, but they have to like kind of pretend to be Super Mario. Like that's
it's like I'm Fred Flintstone at your bed.
You have Satanists in the highest ranks of the military.
That's true. Yeah, Aquino, is up there and he's doing his damn thing. But it's like it's a weird thing too. I was talking to my wife about that. How like there's this high-ranking Satanist in the military, in intelligence, and
they're like, all Satanists, but they're
it's this guy's just their high priest.
Yeah, but he I guess that dude was like sort of out there. I think they all are.
Well,
but
he was part of the Church of Satan beforehand, and he said, "This is some pussy. They're not going hard enough. They're not enough." And so I'm going to go start the Temple of Set and sacrifice to this deity who Set as an archetype or whatever. I mean, the stories have said he's a complete piece of shit. Kills his brother, kills his nephew, but back to what I was going to say about the genius loci or the Loki.
That's right. Yeah, before I derailed the out of you.
The Backrooms is a good example of this.
Go on.
Now, did they exist already, or did someone, create this program, this place, and now it exists somewhere because enough people played it, enough people, got it, watched videos of it, and were like, this is real. This could be real. How many, how many people have to do that before it starts to exist?
No, I'm trying to.
So, okay, this is basically this concept of like a never-ending maze of hallways that are kind of resemble like a hotel hallway, but it's like this idea that you enter the background of reality. And it's this never-ending maze.
The upside down, right?
More or less, but it's inhabited by creatures, which a lot of them are Shrek. Weird.
A lot of them are Shrek. That's a weird sentence. A lot of them are Shrek. But it's like a yellow
kind of a hallway. It looks like it could be the hallway of a hotel, and the objective is never-ending maze. Try to figure out your way to the end of it. Also, don't get eaten by Shrek or one of the many. Slender Man often is in there, like that kind of. And
sounds like you're describing like the game Doom, like just rolling like through. Huh.
Yeah, it kind of looks like that. But so then it enters all their games. It enters Roblox. It enters Minecraft. It enters like every single.
Well, that goes to say, if enough people play the new Grand Theft Auto, is crime going to pick up?
Right. I
Does
mean,
it coincide with each other? These what happens in these video games and then what happens in reality? Like,
well,
I've
that's
always
the
kinda thought
concept
about
of
that.
like manifestation. If enough people are thinking it and really fixated on it, and then enough people are also geared at fleshing it out, making it look more realistic, giving it more life and more dynamicy, what effect does that
Hold
have
on.
reality? And I think
Hold on, guys. I'm sorry. Wait a second.
do it
We got to
again.
check the chat. No.
oh, okay.
We're going to say that dynamicy. We're going to look that up.
God
Pause it.
damn it,
I don't
dude.
care.
Don't word check me live on our show. Don't do that. Dynamacy is a real word.
I don't
It
think
means
so.
when things are like super duper dynamic, dude.
Do you mean dynamic with 2 E's? No.
No. Like a dynamacy would be like a CY at the end.
Okay.
Not dynamic. It's a weird word, isn't it?
Sounds like the name of a young black woman.
Dynamacy. This is my daughter, Dynamacy. Getting her weed. No, there's no such thing. There's no such guys.
No. It's, yeah. If you give it more dynamacy, you know what I mean?
Z-Man, write it down. Thank you. All right, let's continue.
Dynamussy.
Dynamussy.
Listen. All right, don't do that to me. Let's bring it back, okay?
Focus.
So here's where I think I don't even want to say that, like say it too loud, because I know my son is like, oh, the Backrooms, and I'm like, and he's like, are they real? I'm like, no. It's
So he's like, he knows about this.
My son
yeah,
does
because it's
too.
in all
yeah.
the kids' entertainment. But
The
here's where I think it
Backrooms.
becomes a problem: the Dreamscape.
Is it like the Hill? Like the kids with the Hill? Is this
No.
Nah,
Well,
it's
maybe
different.
I don't know. No, I think they're really in Utah. But when it comes to the Backrooms, I think that one of the problems is because of the maze nature and the horror character nature, it becomes a real bad place for the Dreamscape.
Mm.
So you get trapped in there in this repetitive nightmare. He's not had these, but I can see how this could play out over and over again. You're trying to escape, and Shrek, whatever. This monstrosity in there with you, chasing you. I think it becomes a place where these things can torment you in the astral.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely.
So is that an egregore? That's not an egregore, but it's something like that because it's
got a lot of
Along the lines
dynamic.
of one of them. Yeah, it's one of these thought forms, man.
they're just getting creative with how to do the same. It's really like it's like AI or the Ouija board, right? It's kind of
Well, then you have the simulacrum, which is the imitation of something real, which I consider would maybe be a doppelganger or something. I've heard stories, real encounters of people with doppelgangers, maybe bullshit, but if it is real,
I've heard some stories.
I think that maybe the shadow self of some people eventually maybe physically manifest, and like it's just a phenomenon. I don't know, but I think it has something to do with thought forms.
I mean, Austin Picard and Donut are
They're the same
doppelgangers.
guy.
Holy, you were
Same,
right.
same dude.
I
Yeah,
saw them
but-
side by side in that picture, and I was like, "Wait a minute,
They
Austin's
wore
there
the
twice?"
same hat.
Wait a minute, Austin's there twice.
Austin's there twice.
How the f- did he pull that
Something's
off?
wrong with the camera.
Yeah, it was really weird. Very strange. Austin parapolitical, Donut, supernatural, ceremonial, ritualistic kind of focus, and it's just two sides of the exact same coin. But when you flip it over, it's got the same dude's face on it each time.
Yeah, it's very strange. And then to be at like some weird niche event in the middle of nowhere, Florida. Oh, wait, I have the picture here. Hold on. Let's pull that up because it is just wild. Like,
Look at this. Somebody said Dave's son grows up thinking his father is a deep-minded philosopher until the day he decides to check a
look,
dictionary.
look, these guys had the nerve to wear the same hat too.
Same
Crazy.
color shirt. So crazy.
And they had glasses on. Donut
How
had
serious Austin looks.
yeah,
Donuts.
yeah.
Austin's
what it
the
is?
dark doppelganger. Donut's the
He's definitely the light one. Donut's the light one. Well, you know what it is? Somebody
Donut had
made,
a great time.
someone made
It's
two
like he wants to
homunculi.
kill
There's a
Thomas.
third one rolling around somewhere that we haven't seen. Actually, there's a.
oh man, y'all had Doc there too.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
Doc,
there-
man, I wish
everyone
you were
was-
there, brother. I wish you were there, man.
dude. I know.
You
Such a
fucked up.
bummer.
I
That could have
know,
been
I-
you.
No,
Yeah, that's
Right
okay.
there. Bloop.
I'd have been right there in the middle.
Right there in
Yeah.
the middle. That could have been you. Next time, we're gonna do it
Next
again.
time, dude, guys. No, we're
Not doing it
we're
again. That
gonna,
was it. We're
we'll
done.
Bring Twin
100% do it
Peaks
again.
in. I'll bring Adrian to Bro Grove with his books, and we'll do a whole Greypilled little pop up shop or something.
100%.
We have to think about a way to do it because I want to do like all of you guys, all the conspiracy guys, there's a way to do it and make it really fun. Like really fun.
Absolutely.
And we have to figure out the formula to this live thing, but it'll happen.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Gotta refine it a little bit. We're practicing.
Well,
We're practicing.
I mean,
We're
if
to get
me and
better.
Thomas are there, we could do a sound science thing together or something, like, I
It'd be a
mean,
lot of
it's I have a bunch of shows I do, so there's lots that we could talk about, but dude, I promise you guys, trying my damnedest to make this next one because
More empty promises. That's fine.
Mhm.
I know,
Let's
I know, no more of those.
Empty promises. I understand. Yeah, man. I think that when it comes to these thought forms, it's one thing for dreaming up a character, but it's another thing dreaming up a place. And the maze has always held like spiritual significance. You see it in Homer's Odyssey, right? The maze with the Minotaur in it. This is something I think when it comes to like this, I don't even want to say the word up, but the BRs, you guys can piece it together. I just don't want them to hear me on the other side of the wall. When it comes to the BR situation, I think they've created an astral maze in which to basically lock you in. Because you ever get it caught in this sort of looping dream? And
I love how we're on stage. We're on stage with Sam Tripoli, and we said the N word maybe 30 times in the first 20 minutes, and he's like, he won't say Backrooms. It's just like that's like heavy.
It's just because he's on the other side of the wall, and I don't want him thinking about all this weird. The cat's already out of the bag. Kid does nothing but listen. He's probably listening under the door right now. But you've had those nightmares where you can't get out of it. You're stuck in a loop. You keep thinking you're waking up, and then all of a sudden, like, you're still in the dream. And I know what it's like. I'm sure everybody knows what it's like to have a nightmare and then to wake up from it and feel the release as well as the relief of being out of it. And you realize in that moment, like, the stress that this put you under was palpable. And I believe these things feed off of that. There are negative entities that feed off of negative energy. So if they can keep you trapped in some astral realm where it's fear, panic, anxiety, fear, panic, anxiety, and you're just on a loop, these things are at a buffet and you're the main course, right? So if they can create something that ends up being part of pop culture for children. And now how many children are subjected to this idea of the BRs? Right. The BRs. How many children are subjected to that? So how many children are getting locked in some astral bullshit hotel maze and getting tormented by Shrek, who was supposed to be love and light?
Nah, dog. Mike Myers is a Fed. Like, this is
straight up.
We learned
Just
this,
getting
dude.
by Michael Myers in an astral realm. God,
Horrific.
on a loop. You just
And
can't get out of
Donkey.
it. It's Monsters Inc. There you go. Keisha says Monsters Inc. I thought Keisha was a black girl's name, but I know Keisha is not a black girl. So wild observation. I just want to make that as an aside. I just think that is maybe more nefarious than parents are giving credit to right now. Because there's a lot of parents that are listening to this and going, "Oh, my little talks about the back rooms all the time."
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's
You talk
try
about
to
Shrek?
get them away from that. Yeah. My son has heard about him, but he doesn't watch. He don't watch the videos. He's not a big horror guy. Well, I guess I don't know. I'm sure he's watched them. I don't know. I need to check with him on that now. But but yeah, man. No, I think there may be a chance that a lot of these things that exist in the ether that end up physically manifesting, we somehow help create. Maybe not all by ourselves, but definitely maybe a part of that, that force, that driving force that does create something, good or bad.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we're seeing it with the Slender Man, or we saw it with the Slender Man. I think we're seeing the same things right now with the BRs. And I wonder what that's gonna come to, because you know how the Slender Man situation ended. I'm not saying anything has to happen here, but I wonder if we'll be sitting at a show, a year from now, being like, yeah, remember when it was in the news? The kid was talking about I did this because I was in the BRs with them. I don't know. Who the hell knows where it goes? But it seems sometimes like I'm not saying there's a concerted effort by anybody in the physical to do it. I think these spiritual things, they nudge us. And sometimes they get so good at nudging us that next thing you know, they're in your Xbox.
Oof.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Trying to
well,
get
listen.
in through your portal.
2 days, one portal. Guys, this has been a fascinating conversation. I think where I'm landing on this is egregores aren't just something that only exists because you made it exist. I think these things nudge you one way or another, and if you happen to do the work of fleshing out a character or an idea well enough, you're just giving them a home.
Yeah.
And they can embody that thing and they can use it to torment you. But listen, Jules, where can everybody find you and what do you have going on coming up? Because I know you got a lot of shows that you do, and I want people to be able to go and find those shows and subscribe to your work.
Yeah, man. At Greypilled Pod on Twitter, Greypilled_podcast on Instagram, guys. I'm on Rumble, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Patreon. Again, you come over there. My Elohim etymology shows, they stream there for about a week before we put them out to the public. We do our own Twin Peaks watch parties over there, as well as esoteric book reviews with Subliminal Messenger that we do on Saturday mornings. Those are Patreon only. The public never sees those. So my Patreon has its own like whole list of episodes that the public will never have access to. Got a few tiers over there, as well as locals. I post all the stream links on locals. Elohim etymology with my co-host Adrian West. We'll be doing another one of those this next weekend. Just dropped part 1 on Ninurta, so y'all go check that one out. And yeah, Sound Science is coming back. I believe me and Thomas may do one next week. Shout out to the Paranoid American. Y'all go to paranoidamerican.com/discount/greypilled for 10% off your purchase. Catch me on Already Dead tomorrow night. It's 8:30 Central. And not really anything going on right now. Been doing a lot of stuff with the Occult Rejects as well. So
Nice. Love those guys.
Man. Shout out those guys.
Are you you're on their panel now?
You could consider me one of them, yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, man, they're good, dude. Nick always just sends me the link every stream. It's like, hey, I think you like this conversation. Come check it out. So
smart move. Like that's what we were saying about you as well. We were like, Jules is the guy that knows it. So like picking you up for that kind of a conversation, very smart.
Yeah, I'm always down for anything, man. And guys, also, if you go to my Patreon, I had stickers that I printed. We get a free sticker pack. I got to send you guys some as well. So don't let me forget.
Please do. Shout out to all of
I know
the.
Top probably doesn't need any more stickers, but
no, I like stickers. Okay. Somebody stuck a sticker on my back for like the entire Bohemian Grove. I didn't notice until I took my shirt off.
Titcoin? Titcoin.
It was Titcoin.
I like
it was Schizo friend. Put it on my back. Very funny.
Shout out to all of the great out there, which banger name
guys
for a fan base.
Yeah,
all of the
they.
greatness.
My wife's not the biggest fan of it, but they named
my
themselves.
wife was at Bohemian Grove while we were saying some pretty aggressive things.
Was she there when you were all oiled up getting?
Yep. And she thought it was. She enjoyed it. She thought it was good. She thought it was funny. But I think I drew the line at an appropriate place because they wanted me to wear a ball gag. Good God, dude. Good God. Not good. Don't
that picture of you or I think it's Top and Cole, or no, I don't know. I think it's you and Top kissing Cole is on my wife's laptop, and she just came in the room one day and was like, "What the is this?" It's like Top sent that to me one night. I don't know.
Not good.
Man. I wish I could have been there, but you guys, man, y'all, everyone who was on stage did a great job. I can't wait for the next one. don't, hold me to it, Top, please.
It's gonna be soon. As long as we don't die in World War III, it's gonna be just fine. We're gonna do another one as long as there is an Earth that's not scorched upon which to put a stage. Bro Grove 4 will happen. So
yes, in the embers, most likely. All right, guys. Jules, again, thank you, and we'll see you guys in a couple of minutes for our next guest. Don't forget to obey, submit, and comply. Goodbye.
The greatest hypnotist on planet Earth is a oblong box in the corner of the room. It is constantly telling us what to believe is real.
You can persuade them that what they see with their eyes is what there is to see.